Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Unique Moments, where we take a moment to breathe and take a moment to pause, reconnecting mind, body, and spirit. Please bear with me. I have been under the weather. Please bear with me. And we are finishing the chakra series with the final and seventh chakra, the crown chakra, located at the top of the head. And the color is white or violet. And so the affirmation on the card says, I am happy. I'm going to read two. I am happy, healthy, and whole. And then the other one says, I welcome vital energy rising from root to crown. So we went from the root chakra to the sacral to the solar plexus with the lower three chakra regions, the material realm, the earthly plane, the physical nature of us as human beings, and the heart chakra, which is the bridge, the middle, center. And then we did the throat, the third eye, and now we're on the crown, the upper three chakras, the spiritual nature of us as human beings. So the card says, the seventh chakra is known as the thousand-petaled lotus, a symbol of purity, perfection, and spirituality. It is our highest energy center, both in terms of physical location and rate of vibration, which means it vibrates the fastest. I didn't say this for the other ones, but each chakra has a vibration. Everything has a vibration. Going back to the law of vibration, which I posted about one of these videos a while back. But everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. But as you move up the chakras, the vibration gets faster. The thought is the faster the vibration, the lighter the energy. So the base chakra, the root chakra, has the heaviest energy. It vibrates the slowest. And then as you move up, the frequency of the chakra increases in vibration. And this chakra represents liberation, bringing great knowledge, deep understanding, inner wisdom, and a connection to the highest state of enlightenment and spiritual growth. It represents union with the higher self, the cosmos, the divine, or God. And yeah, we're going to talk about what it looks like when it's out of balance and how to bring it back, and what it looks like when it's in balance in your life. And so if you have an out of balance crown chakra, some of the things that might express themselves, you might be prone to worrying or depression, anxiety. And this is not, I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. And yeah, if it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And some of the most common ways that you can spot a out of balance crown chakra is worrying, depression, anxiety, psychosis. And I want to just kind of go ahead and loop in other like just mental things. Like, I don't want to say mental disorders, but if we think about the placement of the chakra, it's at the top of the head. And where these things usually found, like psychosis, depression, anxiety, these are in your head. Not that they're in your head, that you're making them up and they're not real, but they take place, the chemicals, the neurotransmitters, the rewiring, the dysfunction in the brain. It has to do with your brain, it has to do with your head. So if this crown chakra is out of balance, either there's an abundance of energy in this area, or there's not enough energy going to this area. You may experience some cognitive things, some cerebral goings on up there, and then exhaustion and sensitivity to light, sound, environment. The way that I think about light, sound, and environment, okay, so I'm just going to say this is like so there are some people who believe that certain things like autism, Asperger's, even ADHD are not only symptoms and disorders and things in the physical, but they have to do with the spiritual nature. I feel like I saw a video on Instagram, and I want to link it if I can find it. But he talks about how These things are not just coincidental. They're not just, oh, I was born with ADHD or I was born with autism. Some people believe, a lot of people believe that these conditions are of spiritual nature. And so the best way I can explain it or paraphrase it is like you have the veil is thin for you, for where the spiritual realm and the physical realm meet or converge, or that energy, the energy between there is very the veil is thin. So it's like you have more access to the spiritual realms, because they have a lot of energy coming at them in other ways. It could be coming through their mind, could be coming through their vision, could be coming through their ears, could be coming through their senses and what they feel in their environment. Or they could be hypersensitive to light, sound, and environment. People who have things like they have a thing about loud noises. They don't like being in places where there's such loud noises, or where there's bright lights, or even flashing lights, because it's like too much sensation, too much sensory perception. Like think if you have like you're just extra sensitive. So think of this crown chakra as being like just like a circle. All the energy centers are circles, openings. And so if it's open enough, things like energy and like light and frequency and vibration, all these things can come to you. And we want those things to come to us because we want to be in tune and in touch with our environment and things that's going on. We don't want to only be in our head and observe things that's going around from our perspective and our perception. We want to be able to take in different stimuli from our environment and where things are coming from. And so it's good to have that open so you can receive. But if it's too open, if it's out of balance, if it's overactive, then you're receiving way too much. You're receiving just a lot at one time. And this is true for people who do have spiritual abilities, like I was talking about in the third eye episode. If you do have psychic abilities or channeling abilities, or you feel, you have gifts of that nature, then this chakra also has to be open because the energy has to come from somewhere. But if it's too open, then you can develop those sensitivities just because it's heightened. Everything is heightened. Your spiritual senses are like super turned on. And then that's what it looks like when it's out of balance. Oh, also some addictions that might go with that if you do have an out of balance crown chakra, material acquisitions or mind altering drugs. So these are kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum. So mind altering drugs, think mushrooms, think LSD, think any psychedelics, peyote, ayahuasca. And there's a time and a place for these ancient plant medicines. There's a time and a place, and they can be very helpful and very conducive, especially to healing mental illnesses and to going on spiritual quests and journeys and coming back to yourself. And they can be very healing, and they can be very productive, depending on how you use it. But when you get into like people who are like tripping every day or every other day, or going to on an ayahuasca ceremony every other weekend, it's like that's getting a little out of hand. And so when you have this sort of addiction to that, to seeking more, to being spiritually open, to being connected. Some people, like, you have these experiences and you just feel so connected to the divine, or you feel so connected to God, or so connected to the beyond and to all that is, and you feel one with everything. And while it is nice and wonderful to feel, and it's even more great to just have that knowing and hold that knowing that we are one with everything, and that everything really is connected. But when you're chasing that high and chasing that feeling, it's like you're doing it to fill a hole. And so that's a sign of an overactive crown chakra, because it's like you just want that energy all the time. Like you want to feel one all the time. You want to feel one with God, one with the divine. It's like you can't feel that way all the time. You have to come back to reality. You have to come back to earth once, because you're not God, so you can't exist up there 24/7. It's detrimental to you, and everything in balance. If you have an overactive upper region, then your lower chakras are most likely out of balance, because you're not spending a lot of time there. You're not doing a lot of energy work there, which is what you see with people who are, not everybody, but people who just are on drugs and all they want to do is take drugs. They don't really have a good foundation, or they don't really have a passion or a purpose getting into those lower three chakras. They don't really have many desires or pleasures. They don't find pleasure in anything else. They don't have anything that's connecting them to this physical plane. They may not have a job or a house or friends or family because they're so worried about that spiritual high. They're so worried about, let me just get into an altered state of being, an altered state of mind. And so yeah, that's a possible addiction when this chakra is out of balance. Another one, material acquisitions. And I think this kind of goes in the opposite direction. So like, say if your crown chakra is closed, dealing with spirituality, connected to your higher self, sense of the bigger picture, inner wisdom, an overview of like vast knowledge, a deeper understanding, and inner wisdom. If you don't have that, if that's closed, then material acquisitions or possessions or just wanting things, stuff may be an addiction for you, because it's like you don't have a connection to something beyond. You don't have a connection to something that's greater than this material plane, greater than the things that you can see and taste and touch and eat and spend and experience. That's all you can see because this is closed. You don't have any energy going to the top of your head that's letting you know that there's a greater wisdom, there's a deeper knowledge, there's a deeper understanding, there's a deeper connection, spiritual growth, spiritual attainment. If you don't have a desire for any of that, of course you're going to acquire things, because what else is there to do? You're working, you're living, you're making money. Of course, you want to spend the money. You have time. Of course, you want to spend your time doing things. And while all things in moderation, I'm not saying you shouldn't have anything, but like collecting and collecting and collecting and purchasing and buying and buying and buying is not the healthiest thing to do, especially because we can't take it with us. You can't take it with you when you go. And what are you going to do? So it's like when you don't have a connection to your higher self or to the divine or something beyond this world, you do everything in this world that ties you to that. And that's spending, purchasing, acquiring material possessions. And then what does this look like when the chakra is imbalanced? So if you have a balanced crown chakra, this looks like you maybe have a sense or are fulfilling your true destiny or true purpose. If you feel that you have a purpose on this earth, if you feel like you were born with a specific goal or mission, a balanced crown chakra looks like you are in alignment with that. And maybe you're not, living that out fully yet, but you at least are walking in the direction because you're connected, one with God, one with your higher self, and you're moving different. You're receiving directions from God. You're receiving directions from your higher self to, okay, this is what my true destiny is. This is what my true purpose is. This is what I got to do. Also, a sign of a balanced crown chakra is enhanced spirituality. So, just like with anything, I think there's like the real thing, and then there's like what people dress it up or pretend it to be. So I think enhanced spirituality, I would say it kind of goes even beyond just like the chakras and like crystals and energy work and all of that. Like that is very much spirituality, but enhanced spirituality, like true spirituality, is really just living. Like it's not about meditating or becoming so zen that you are on another realm or in another dimension or in another planet. It's about, okay, how do you deal with the everyday? How do you exist today spiritually? And that means viewing everything as spiritual. So every decision that you make is spiritual. Every you hold yourself accountable to everything that happens because you realize that life is spiritual. It's about going deeper. It's about going deeper with self. It's about going deeper with God and beyond the performative stuff. I'll say that. An enhanced spiritual life is when you get beyond the performative stuff. It's beyond the, oh, I can meditate for this and this long. I can sit in meditation for this long. I'm this consistent and I do this and I do this. It's not about the meditations. It's not about the affirmations. It's really not even about the things. It's not about the actions that you do. Like you realize that you are the spiritual being. You are spirituality, and spirituality is how you act, is how you show up in your life. It's not about I read this book, or I balance my chakras and now I'm one, or I'm, it's not about that at all. It's okay. Can you exist in a world and keep your spiritual compass about you? And I think that the spiritual compass evolves because there's a time and a place for everything. There's a time and a place for everything, and I think the spiritual compass does evolve. However, the most practical way I can think about this is like emotions, right? Am I more or less spiritual because like I don't get angry at someone when they cut me off in traffic, or if they cuss me out, or I'm able to keep my composure when someone's yelling at me? Does that make me more or less spiritual? Not really. Not really, because I think there's a common misconception that like highly evolved or highly spiritual people like don't get angry or don't get mad, or they're just living in peace and living in bliss, and everything is zen and all is well and love and light. And no, that's not it. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's when you are able to integrate all of the emotions properly and give every situation and circumstance its due response. Sometimes that's anger, sometimes that's sadness, sometimes that's silence, sometimes that's joy, sometimes that's frustration, sometimes that's appreciation, sometimes that's irritation, sometimes that's excitement, sometimes it's whatever the emotion is. Sometimes it's disgust. Sometimes it's disgust, but can you feel that disgust and anger and sadness and excitement and frustration and still come back to center? I think that's the thing. Like, how quick does it get you to, how quick can you come back to center? I think that's a mark of an enhanced spiritual being, of an enhanced spiritual person. How quick can you come back to you? How quick can you come back to center after experiencing some emotion, episode, whatever it is? So another sign of a balanced crown chakra is a sense of bliss. And I know I just spoke about spirituality not being like this Zen, all is well kind of vibe. But to contradict that a little bit, I think if your crown chakra is open, then you do just have this sense of bliss, like this sense of joy. And it's not because something happened. It's not because, you're close or you've reached it or you found enlightenment. It's not because of any of that. It's because you just have a connection. You have a connection to your higher self. You have a connection to the divine. You have a connection to God. And you know that all is well. And quite literally, it is very much like a Zen. Like, no matter what's happening, I could be having the worst day of my life, but I have a sense of bliss. I have a sense of joy because one, I know that it's all temporary. And two, I know that I'm connected to the divine. I'm connected to the Most High. And so for that, I can have this sense of bliss. I can have this sense of joy that even if things aren't all right now, I know they will be because they are, because they have to be, because I'm connected to the Almighty. I'm connected to the one source, the divine. I'm connected to my higher self. And in that connection, there is nothing wrong. In that connection, all is well. And so while it's not like that all the time, I think that is a mark of a balanced crown chakra when you're able to keep the knowing and hold the knowing that all is well. All is well. Even if everything is not going right, all is well. And then another sign is you open up to life and what life has to offer. So I think on the opposite side of this, the worry, depression, anxiety, when your crown chakra is open, you're open to life. And that doesn't necessarily mean saying yes to everything and doing everything and trying everything, but sometimes it is. It's just saying yes to that curiosity about what could be, about the possibility of things, about meeting new people and going new places and eating new foods and having new experiences and just being open to the possibility instead of being in fear of what might happen, or having to plan, or we can't do this because of this, or I can't do that because of that. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't go here. No, when you're open, when this crown chakra center is open, you just have a receptivity about you. You want to open up, and you want to go here and you want to go there. You want to say, hey, yeah, let's try it. Let's see. Why not? Who knows what can happen? The possibilities are endless. And being on that wave and being on that vibration of just being open to the endless, infinite possibilities of how this day might turn out, of how this day might go, of how my year might go, of how um, anything might go, of how the date might go, of how the job interview might go. Just not being so closed off and locked into maybe what I'm aware of or familiar with about the past, or maybe what I've experienced about the past. Maybe just not jumping to a conclusion because I think I've seen this before. Just being open to a new day, being open to a new possibility, being open to a new experience, a new person, something new, just being open. And then the last way, well, there's many ways, but the last way I wrote was being connected to your spiritual nature and divine consciousness, which is what I've been speaking about this whole time. So you just feel connection. You don't feel that God is far from you. You know that God is near because you feel it. Being connected to a spiritual nature is almost like you recognize and almost invite the higher power to come into your life and work with you and to live with you and move with you and do things as you do them. And you know you're not doing them by yourself. You know you're doing them with the divine. And so it's like being aware of that, being conscious of that, that you're not doing this alone, that you're not just you yourself working through this and doing what you got to do. No, being connected to your spiritual nature. And then what are some ways to balance that out if you do know that it's out of balance? Chanting, conscious breathing, breath work, anything to do with the breath. Your breath is literally your life force. So if we're talking about a chakra that has to do with the divine, connecting to deeper inner wisdom, deeper realms, higher consciousness, this is spirit. This is God, something that we can't see. And so synonymous to your life force. This is something that you can't see, but it's something that you would be dead without. So you need the air in your lungs to breathe. The air in your lungs to breathe is synonymous to spirit, the air that keeps everything breathing, that keeps everything going, that is in everything. Spirit is in everything. Your breath is in everything. So when you do breath work, when you do conscious breathing, this activates this energy center because you're getting more oxygen to your brain. And this is at the top of your head. So you're getting more oxygen to your brain, more blood flow, more energy flow, and you're bringing more energy to your body. And then just practicing mindfulness and being present, practicing mindfulness and being present with the moment. When you're present and when you're mindful, so many things can flow in, and you can just notice. It's just a good way of noticing. Other ways, what are some foods? So this is actually the way you open this chakra is by not eating and actually fasting. So it could be juicing, just water fast, but no foods. So think of it as like when you're fasting or when you're juicing, yeah, you're low energy or you're not taking in a lot of like nutrients or anything like that, but all the more room for the divine, all the more room for God, for that spirit energy. It's like less of you and more of God. So if your body is not full of, even if you eat good foods, even if it's whole foods, like if your body is not full of anything, any particles, any liquids, it's empty. You quite literally are a perfect vessel for the divine energy to flow through you. And so that is one quick way to be more balanced in your crown chakra energy is just fast. And then to close, I wrote some crown chakra affirmations, and I'm also going to link the crown chakra yoga session and also the sound bowl meditation in the video. I am one with the energy of source. I am one with the energy of source. And then I am guided by love, light, and higher knowing. I am guided by love, light, and higher knowing. And I am connected to my higher self and infinite intelligence. I'm connected to my higher self and infinite intelligence. And that is what I have for the crown chakra and ending out the series. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is fun. I made some nonsense crochet things and I enjoyed that. So that was good. I think I made a scrunchie and then we made a scarf and then just some other nonsensical things. So yeah, this is good. And until next time.